God created the universe to consist of both spiritual and physical existence. In the heavens, we have an area of operation known as the spiritual realm. It consists of both the Holy Spirit and evil spirits. God and his angels are in this realm. The devil and his demons are also in this realm. This realm is a realm of conflict that spills over into our world. This is the picture our Bible paints for us. One day, the king of Syria decided to go and attack the camp of the Israelites. When the servant of Elisha came out, he was terrified to see how the Syrian army had surrounded the city with horses and chariots. His eyes were limited as he could only see the physical Syrian army and not the spiritual army of the Lord, which was bigger than the Syrian army. But the servant of God, Elisha, had been enabled by the Spirit of God to see beyond the physical. Look at what Elijah told his servant. So he answered, "Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed and said, "Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see." Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 16 to 17. I believe that this servant was so amazed at what he saw. This shows how our physical eyes as human beings are limited. But what is the importance of us being aware of what is happening in the spiritual realm? Someone may ask, what may concern them knowing and understanding what happens in the spiritual realm? This will make someone be alert and active while living in this world. Some of the things we see them happening in the physical had their origin from the spiritual. They could have either been prevented happening or improved if we really were aware of their happening beforehand. This is because the spirit realm defines almost everything that happens on earth. Holy spirits and the evil spirits are active in the spirit realm. The evil spirits are in constant war against human beings, while the godly spirit is providing defense against attacks from the evil spirits and guiding believers in the right way. That is why believers are advised to walk by the Spirit. Therefore, it is very important for man to understand where to run to and where to run from, as everything is controlled in the Spirit. This is why Apostle John advises believers to test every spirit to determine if it is from God or Satan. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Because we are constantly under the attack of the evil one, we need to be equipped by putting on the whole armor of the Lord. This is what Apostle Paul advised the church in Ephesus. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11 to 13. The spirit world is a place of tremendous influence. The spirit world influences this world, and this world influences the spirit world. This is mainly done through prayer. Now listen to me, and listen to me carefully. I am about to tell you one of the most precious treasures of truth I have come to know throughout the years. Listen carefully. The most powerful and influential people in the world are the people who know how to get their prayers answered. I don't think we fully understand the power and mysteries locked up in prayer, and I don't even think we ever will. Prayer has the ability to bring the power of God and His infinite resources into whatever situation. Unfortunately, most of us don't believe this. Christian people, I say this kindly. Most of us don't believe that, at least many of us don't. If we do, we would pray more. We would make prayer the principal thing in our life. Like the apostles, we admire them, great men of God, great preachers, spirit-filled great men of prayer. They said, we will give ourselves continually to prayer. There is power in prayer. There is an amazing power in prayer. Prayer has the ability to bring the power of God and His infinite resources into whatever situation. What are some of the resources of God? Mother Nature, for example. Look at the example of the children Israel in Exodus chapter 3 verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. What did God hear? Their cry. What it means are, here is the people of Israel cried out to the Lord, asking Him to save them, and then God began to release His resources.
They weren't alien to the power of God. Israel was delivered from slavery, and at this point was being guided by the pillar of fire by night and the cloud by day. God was showing up in even stronger ways than He did to take them out of Egypt. God speaking to Moses out of a burning bush, telling him to go down to Egypt and confront Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. And God causing a stick to turn into a snake. God delivered them. God had done so much for them. They had a lot to remember. Pharaoh, in his stubborn ways, refused to listen to Moses, so God fought for His people using nature. The plagues came forth, water turning to blood. The frogs came forth and slept in the beds of Pharaoh and his people. Lice and flies, locusts came forth and took over the lands of Egypt. And God kept warning Pharaoh over and over again, let my people go. But Pharaoh remained stubborn, and the pestilence and the boils and the hailstorms and the lightnings flashed and the thunder roared. While all of this was happening, God was protecting His people. The last plague left the household of the Egyptians in the morning. But as the death angel flew that night, but did not go near the dwelling of the Israelites, Yahweh ordered them to put the blood of the slaughtered lamb above the doors to avert the judgment that He would send against Pharaoh and his people. This great event of deliverance was called the Passover, and even today is still celebrated. Until Pharaoh finally agreed to let them go.
So how God delivered the children of Israel? He did it by showing His power of nature and the animals.
Our God is unstoppable. Nothing has the ability to stop Him. Not even the forces of the earth or the laws of nature and science. Somehow, we might have always thought that the only unbeatable force in this world is the law of nature. But God has proven to us that He made nature and He has control over it. If He could go as far as giving His only begotten Son for my sake, why wouldn't He turn the forces of nature in my favor? Just think about it. If He sent His only Son for you, why would He not defy the laws of physics that He made? What can stop Him? Absolutely nothing.
Another example is seen in the life of Joshua.
Let's take a look at the story together. Joshua 10, verses 12 to 14. At that time, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still at Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Aijalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jashar? The sun stopped in the midst of heaven, and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. There has been no day like it before or since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. The Israelites were at the war front, and time was no longer on their side. It was getting dark. All Joshua did was cry out to God, and God heard him. Not only did the sun and moon stop so that Joshua and his army could continue fighting, but God also caused a mighty tempest to attack the Canaanites with rain and hailstones. God did more than Joshua asked. This affirms what Ephesians 3 verse 20 says, "Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us." God will always do much more than we can picture in our hearts.
This is what Apostle Paul emphasizes, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 18. We should constantly engage ourselves in spiritual warfare through prayer. There was time the disciples of Jesus Christ could not cast out a demon from a child brought to them because they didn't know the secret of waging spiritual warfare. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, "Why could we not cast it out?" So Jesus said to them, "Because of your unbelief, for assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting." Matthew chapter 17 verse 19 to 21.